Great interview. Encourage everybody to check it out. It's on Bleacher Report. Great job by both Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. And I will always support Kevin Durant's decision to go to the Warriors, to join one of the best teams ever assembled to win championships. If that makes him happy, then God bless him. Moving on to Russell Westbrook, who had a very interesting remark to say about his Lakers and some of the folks that questioned their experience, we'll call it. Quote, "We got a team full of nice, experienced vets that's going to kick these young bleep Jalen Anthony Rose. What do you think about Russell Westbrook's confidence in his veteran-laden Lakers squad?"
David Jacoby, you know how this works in basketball. It don't matter where they're playing. When the old guys come to the court and they still got some game and they got their own built-in team, they might not be able to play 10 games, but they're going to dominate those 5 games. That's what he's talking about. The 82 games, Russell is going to be going 100 miles and running. And a lot of those fast breaks, he's going to be out in front of the pack. And rightfully so, because he doesn't necessarily play his age. He's going to be at home. Russell, this is going to be like on steroids. Imagine wherever your favorite energy drink is, or caffeine or whatever. Russell's going to be that times playing in front of his home fans. That's what this is going to be. Oh, they still got LeBron James, who was playing like an MVP last year, and Anthony Davis, who's still in his late 20s. The Los Angeles Lakers are the clear-cut favorite to win the West. I'd be shocked if it's not them and the Nets in the NBA Finals. But never overlook, and I got to make sure I always do this, the Milwaukee Bucks. Because what I saw Giannis do this year was truly special.
Well, Jalen, when you look at this Lakers team, right, LeBron James, before the injury, was the MVP leader. Like, it was basically him and Embiid neck and neck for the MVP. He's aged, but his game is still as effective as it ever was. Russell Westbrook, do you remember what he did with the Wizards? Played 30 games with the Wizards and absolutely tore it up. He's still at the peak of his powers. AD, as you mentioned, is in his late 20s. I would say Carmelo Anthony's game has suffered due to his age, but the main three are still at the peak of their powers. Is LeBron as explosive as he used to be? No. So I don't doubt this team because of their age. I think they kind of make up this narrative. But you mentioned, look at the odds in the Western Conference. They are favored. Not just by a little bit, by a lot. Look at this, plus 170. Then it goes all the way to plus 450 for the Warriors. So it is basically the Lakers and then a huge gap and then everybody else in the Western Conference. Like you said, I would be shocked if they did not represent the West in the finals. And if that wasn't the case, it is most likely due to injury, not because of roster construction.
Well said, and I agree. And what you said about Melo, one thing he has done is reinvent himself as a three-point shooter, over 40% last year.
Yep, and he's going to get a lot of catch-and-shoot threes, more than he's ever gotten in his career because of the creativeness of the playmaking of LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. Jalen Rose, we love this man so much on this program. Scary Terry just signed a 4-year, $97 million extension. Mr. Rose, what do you think?
Nightmares of the night, Melo Ball, Book Night, Gordon Hayward, and Scary Terry securing the bag. Let's start.
He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We get the people what they want.
Russell Westbrook has some thoughts on his future with the Lakers, and Shohei Ohtani put on a show in Detroit. But we start our show with rehashing some drama that happened in Los Angeles between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green when they were on the Warriors. Draymond Green has a show, Chips, on Bleacher Report, and he had Kevin Durant on as a guest in a wide-ranging, interesting interview. A lot of it stemmed around this incident.
It wasn't the argument, it was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr act like it didn't happen, Bob Myers and tried to just discipline you and think that would put the mask over everything. I really felt like that was such a big situation for us as a group. The first time we went through something like that, we had to get that all out. We met the next morning and they said, all right, you slept on it, you ready to apologize. And I told them right then and there, I said, y'all about to this up. I said, the only person that can make this right is me and Kay. and there's nothing that y'all can do, and y'all are going to f this up. And in my opinion, they f***ed it up.
I think so too.
Jalen, what do you think about Draymond and KD putting the blame on Kerr and Myers for some of the tension in that locker room?
So this is a loaded circumstance, Jacoby, because it starts really when the Warriors came back from 3-1 and eliminated the Oklahoma City Thunder in a year where they broke the wins record in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors. KD leaves and joins the Golden State Warriors. They create a super team. But however, even if they won 2 championships and he was the finals MVP both times, that was always going to be Steph Curry's city and the Splash Brothers as well. And the fans said it, the media said it, and Bob Myers alluded to it when they had their first championship celebration. And you and I both know that that really stuck with KD. And in the media, we anticipated after they won their second championship that he was going to leave anyway. But during that season, it's going to be turbulence. It's going to be tension. And then it exploded when he and Draymond had their blow up in the huddle. And at that point, it now gave credence to a lot of people to say, oh, that's why KD's now going to leave, because he and Draymond don't see eye to eye. Oh, that argument is why he was leaving. No, he was leaving anyway, because a player of his caliber knows in his mind that he wants to be the guy, not one of the guys. And so that's why we anticipated him leaving. He ultimately did leave, and now he's with the Nets, carving out a new legacy with that team. And for Draymond Green, shout out to him. He's doing a terrific job in his multimedia space. He also, the way he responded sounded like somebody that was fed up. You know how sometimes the most honest people in the room are little kids and the elderly? That's how Draymond was talking freely about his current GM, his current head coach. He had to go play with them this year. And so I just appreciate their candor. But more importantly, I thought that was therapeutic for both of them to just be able to iron out something that we saw publicly, to talk about a circumstance that we saw happen that never truly got closure. Now they can have some.
You make some great points, and one thing I think I need to bring up is Draymond Green reportedly was in the parking lot after the loss to the Cavaliers, calling Kevin Durant to bring him in. They won 2 championships together, and this tension was there. This argument reportedly was about the fact that KD wasn't committed to the team and he was going to leave anyway. This isn't KD's fault. This isn't Draymond's fault. This isn't Bob Myers' fault. This isn't Steve Kerr's fault. KD was already going to leave at that point. So to point back to this one argument in one game out of 82 regular season games as the reason he left is sort of misunderstanding the circumstances. But to your point about this interview, this was a very candid and great interview. I always said Draymond was going to have a future in media. I didn't expect it to start so soon, but it certainly did. And one thing you brought up was very astute, Mr. Rose, is during one of those championship celebrations, here is what Bob Myers had to say about Kevin Durant joining the Warriors.
Because I think last year he told Steph he could have any contract he wants too.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, that was different. He's been here from the run, the way before days. He's earned it.
Jalen.
Correct. And KD knows what the fans and media who question whether he should have left OKC to join the Warriors, and they try to say win a real ring. They try to say he joined the bandwagon type of thing. That's one thing. But when it happens at your championship parade, that has to sting. And I think that moment right there is kind of what their interview ultimately embodied.
Absolutely. It was a great